and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View starts right now.
Across America, live, this is Point of View. And now, Kirby Anderson.
Thank you for joining me, and it is our second day of Truth Team 360. We'll explain a little bit more about that, but we certainly welcome you to the program today. And in this first hour, we're going to have a chance to hear from our good friend Gary Bauer, president of American Values. Second hour today, we'll be having a chance to chat with Tim Wildmon. Joining me this week is Brad Fisk. And Brad, we were off to a pretty good start yesterday.
We were so grateful. It's a special week this week that we need to be telling our friends about.
Well, and again, Truth Team 360. First of all, we're all about truth. You've talked about that before, and you are the one that really helped us begin to hone our message, because we are trying to tell the truth at a time when sometimes people are getting false messages. The team idea is, of course, we want you to join with us, and the 360 is what you can do to join with us, and that is for $1 a day, $30 a month, or $360 a year. That is one of the very important giving levels. There are 3 different giving levels, but I certainly encourage you to consider what you might do to join with us for $1 a day. And of course, then we also have mentioned before on this program that if you were to sponsor just a minute a month, that turns out to be $65 a month. And then, of course, some of you may want to join at the third level, the $100 a month level. But more importantly, one of the things that we have had our donors do in the past is some of them have stepped forward and actually provided a match.
Well, they have, and here's what's happening here. We've got today a $5,000 dollar-for-dollar match challenge on the table. We're very excited about that. And the way it works is this. That money is not in our total. This is an encouragement for you to give. These friends of the ministry have made these funds available if and only if we can get it matched. And so that's very, very important to have your calls coming in today. And every single dollar given, be it a single gift or a monthly gift, will be doubled. And I'd like to really emphasize that $1 a day. That's I can get my arms around that.
Yes,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
And we've got a beautiful choice of a couple of different bags to choose from as a thank you gift for joining the Truth Team at that $360 or more level. But let me give you the vision of this. Not only are you joining for that $360, but another $360 is being released into our total from that $5,000 match challenge fund. So it's a strategic time to give and to support Point of View. Come on, guys. $1 a day, $30 a month. That is a very doable thing for the vast majority of our audience, and we'd love you to prayerfully consider doing that.
We would really encourage you to visit the website, which is pointofview.net. That's where you can see some of the more about that as we get into the program, as we have every day. But certainly I know that many of you would appreciate this welcome gift, and it's something that you can use. But at the same time as well, we also would encourage you, if you would like to talk to someone, we have people standing by, 1-800-347-5151.
What's that number again?
That number is 800-347-5151, or of course, pointofview.net. That's where you can find out a little bit more about some of the resources that we make available to you. And Brad, I might just mention that for a gift of any size, first of all, people receive this we have this booklet. It has the Declaration. It has the Constitution. We have produced this. I've always thought that this would be something we'd really like to give to our listeners.
It is really nice.
And
very nice.
Everybody gets that, whether you give a one-time gift. But I really would encourage some of you to consider a monthly gift. I've been around Point of View long enough to know that, you know what? We have monthly bills, and if we have monthly income, that matches up. And that's why we're looking for some of you to join the team. As you join the team, of course, there's some other benefits. Membership has its privileges.
It does.
And some of those privileges including various CDs we send to you, special information, as well as our Outlook magazine, much, much more. So there's a lot to actually benefit from. And I know that we have many of you that over the years have supported us. But I've always been surprised, Brad, when I think about this, how few we have actually supporting this ministry.
That's right. Well, basically, our statistics show that probably less than 1% of our audience has ever participated with us financially. And so we're really encouraging you to consider. I'm telling you, talk about a timely gift. Talk about a gift that is going to just fit right in to where our culture is going. We are coming up on what could be, and all the pundits are saying this, both the liberals and the conservatives are saying in the next year or two, the direction of this country could be set for an entire future generation before it ever changes again. So that's a huge thing. And as you give to Point of View, we will be the voice of truth. You don't have to have the money now. And you basically just sent, it's a pledge of support, and it's a 2 to 3 minute phone call. We're not going to keep you on the phone long at 1-800-347-5151. To get things started this hour, could we ask 5 of you right now to step up at that $360, that's $30 a month level? That Truth Team, come on, guys. It is so doable. 1-800-347-5151.
And again, I just encourage you to do that because, as we've talked about here, we provide you lots of information you'll hear nowhere else. As a matter of fact, in just a few minutes, as we're joined by Gary Bauer, he's going to share with you a few things that have been taking place that I'm sure will be new information. So if you value the kind of news, information, commentary, the book interviews that we do, the various guests that we have, and just the perspective we try to give to you, we really want to educate you. We want to encourage you. We have a real desire to reach out to the millennial generation. We've talked about how in many cases we've produced resources for them, a relevant minute and much more. We have a phone app. We're certainly doing all we can to reach this generation and all generations with the news.
Would you really like to see your gift multiplied to change the direction of this country? I don't know about you, but I'm not sure we're going the right direction here. And Point of View can be an incredible resource to help turn that boat into another direction, a godly direction, the way it was intended by our forefathers. And we are really guilty as a culture for abandoning those principles. If you believe what I just said, would you consider becoming a financial partner? I'm telling you, stretch out by faith. We don't have any Guidos on the staff that are going to check up if you gave your funds. It's a pledge of support for the future. Come on, guys, $1 a day. 800-347-5151, or you can go online at pointofview.net/team. That's pointofview.net. Click on that Join the Team, and you can sign up through the internet extremely fast and simple and free.
Brad was just talking about the Founding Fathers, and a little bit later we're going to hear from Bob Allen, and he's been doing a series, and you'll hear one each day, and it's also available on our website. You can listen to it or read it, and the theme is this Founding Fathers floundering politicians, because the sad reality is when you begin to match up what our Founding Fathers have, not all, but some of the politicians have really let us down, and so that's another reason why I would encourage you to support us. And now that we have this match on the table, that means your $100 becomes $200. Right. Your $360 for a year becomes an additional $360.
I love that. $1 a day to $2 a day. I love it.
So that's what we really encourage you to do. And again, we've given the number out, 800-347-5151. Again, 800-347-5151. But I know a lot of you just simply would like to go online. We've made it very easy to do, so just go to pointofview.net. You'll see a little button there that says Join Our Team. When you click on it, that gives you a chance to see some of the welcome gifts. You can click on either $30, $65, $100 a month, and you can select or deselect the various gifts of what you have like to do, and you can do it very quickly even while you're listening to the program. So we're going to be talking with Gary Bauer. Going to look a little bit at what's been happening overseas, Israel, Iraq, Iran, and those, but then also some things happening in this country. And if you value the kind of information we get from the President of American Values, the man that served as Undersecretary of Education and the Chief Domestic Policy Advisor for Ronald Reagan, you're going to have a chance to hear from him. But as we go for a break, this would be a good time to call 800-347-5151.
5 callers. Let's go right now. Let's go. Let's do it.
We'll be right back.
This is Viewpoints with Kirby Anderson.
Later this month, the UN Climate Change Conference will be held in Paris. You can tell how skewed the environmental priorities are of the participants by looking at one picture that accompanies the op-ed by Bjorn Lomborg. The title of his piece is, "This Child Doesn't Need a Solar Panel." The picture is of an impoverished, half-clothed boy in Mozambique crossing a trash-strewn mud hole. No, this boy and his family need food, clean water, clothing, and much more. They don't need a solar panel. Björn Lomborg is the author of such books as The Skeptical Environmentalist. He believes that we need to address environmental issues, but let's get first things first. Spending billions of dollars on climate-related aid to these poor countries takes valuable resources away from treating malaria, malnutrition, and tuberculosis. Over the last few months, various countries and international groups pledged money to the UN Climate Fund. Lomborg is concerned because aid is being diverted to climate-related matters at the expense of improved public health, education, and economic development. This doesn't make any sense. We live in a world where 1.2 million people live in extreme poverty. Another 2.6 million lack clean drinking water and sanitation. An online UN survey of more than 8 million people from around the globe asked the world's poorest countries to rank what mattered most to them. At the top of the list were good education and better health care and affordable, nutritious food. At the bottom was action taken on climate change. According to the World Health Organization, 3 billion people suffer from the effects of indoor air pollution because they burn wood, coal, or dung to cook. They need affordable, reliable energy. They don't need a solar panel. I'm Kirby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Take Kirby and the Point of View team with you on the go with the Point of View app. Search for Point of View Radio at the Apple or Google Play stores. Point of View, Truth Team 360, John Stonestreet.
As a speaker and author, I host my own radio program as well, but finding someone who asks really good questions and is really prepared that's not always the case. Kirby is a great interviewer. I always appreciate the depth to which he takes whatever topic we're talking about, whether it's my, a recent book or whether it's something going on in the news. Kirby understands the issue, and he knows how to ask the right questions to get at the heart of things. We all know how rare it is to get the sort of cutting-edge biblical analysis of current events and cultural issues that you get every single day at Point of View. But Point of View can't do it without the support of listeners. I encourage it. If you benefit from Point of View, show your appreciation by praying for the ministry and seriously consider financially supporting Point of View. The church needs what it provides.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
John Stonestreet, again, one of the voices you hear on Breakpoint Commentary. Also, right. Of course, now the Colson Center, and just one of the individuals, Brad, that we have on the program, and some nice comments about, again, why we are encouraging people right now to support Point of View.
We are. That phone number before we go to the interview, 1-800-347-5151. Remember, there's a $5,000 match on the table, so your gift is doubled. It's 100% ROI. It's a guaranteed return. I love it. Not going to get that anywhere else in town.
Well, we're going to spend some time, as we do, going through the program today, talking about some of the issues, but also challenging you to support this ministry. One of the individuals that has done this with us over the years is Gary Bauer. Served, of course, as the Undersecretary of Education, later the Chief Domestic Policy Advisor for Ronald Reagan, and, of course, is the President of American Values. And Gary Bauer, always great to have you on the program with us.
Well, thanks, Kirby. Always great to be with you. You know, as I was listening in here to your conversation, I was reminded of how much I hate raising money when it's my projects. I mean, I've been doing that for years, and I imagine people, when they see Gary Bauer on their phone ID, saying to each other, don't answer it, don't answer it. But I don't have any hesitation at all being on any time that you are asking your loyal listeners to stand by you. You guys do just an incredible job of providing people information and calls to action that, quite frankly, they don't get many other places. Put an application in to come work for you, Kirby.
Well, we'd love to do it with you because we certainly partner with you, and you've been at some of the fundraising events with us and all the rest. So, again, let me encourage our people to join Truth Team 360. And even while you're listening to the interview with Gary Bauer, you can go to our website, pointofview.net, and you can be listening and watching and sign up there as well. Gary, I announced that we'd like to talk about some things people haven't heard about, and we're going to get into foreign policy issues. But, of course, all of us receive your end-of-day report. And yesterday you referred to this as President Obama's jailbreak. 6,000 so-called nonviolent criminals released from federal prisons when they acknowledge that probably half of them will reoffend within the next 5 years. What's going on?
And I tell you, I wish I had a logical explanation. It would actually make me feel better about it. But I can't come up with a logical case for this. Now, look, I think everybody, right and left, believes we could use some judicial system reforms and just some form of literally stupidity. And I thought it was really ironic that one of the studies done of this identified about 20% of those prisoners as having illegally possessed a gun when they were arrested on other things, often drug dealing. This is an administration that rails against the Second Amendment, that constantly comes up or tries to come up with ways to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to own a firearm, even though it's guaranteed by the Constitution. But here's a case of criminals illegally possessing guns, and the same president that is wagging his finger at hunters and others is releasing over 1,000 individuals who may very well, if the statistics are true, may very well obtain an illegal gun again and end up committing another crime.
So again, this is one of the reasons we like to cover some of these issues with you and other guests, because I think you might hear some of this tonight on the mainstream media, or maybe heard it last night, but you haven't heard all the kind of in-depth analysis. And so again, that's part of what people can find. We have a link to, of course, Our American Values, and you can click on that and find out a little bit more about the end of day report, which is there. But again, ouramericanvalues.org. But Gary, let's, if we can, get into some of the foreign policy issues, because this is one of those issues that we certainly like to come to you to talk about. We're in the midst right now of normalizing relations, in quote, with Iran because of this Iranian nuclear deal. There are so many people on the left and the right. I mean, I had Alan Dershowitz on this program, who supports Barack Obama, supports Hillary Clinton, who said this is a bad idea. So when Alan Dershowitz and Gary Bauer agree, you know there's something wrong in Washington, D.C.
That's a pretty good summary, Kirby. I've heard Professor Dershowitz talk about this issue, and he's incredibly insightful and eloquent as always. Look, the deal we made, that the Obama administration made with Iran, and I guess I would just remind everybody, not the White House the president used incredible pressure to make sure there was never an up or down vote on the deal in the Congress. There were votes on whether to cut off debate, but the president demanded that those loyal to him in Congress, people in his party for the most part, that they not allow a final vote on this treaty. So we have this bizarre situation where the fake parliament in Iran was able to vote on the deal, but the representatives of the American people weren't able to vote. One of the only arguments that the administration was able to come up with about this deal is that it would be the beginning of a better acting Iran, that all we had to do was reach out to them, unclench our fist and open our hand, and Iran would begin to come out of their isolationism and would be more easily dealt with on the international scene. In fact, what's happened is the exact opposite. Iran has been emboldened. They are sending operatives, in many cases troops, to multiple countries in the Middle East. They're cooperating with Russia now in what looks to be an act. Syria, Iran, and Russia. And our allies, whether it's Israel or even some of the moderate Muslim states in the region, are scared to death about the implications of this. And they've come to the conclusion that the United States under President Obama has basically left the Middle East to the tender mercies of these thug regimes. So I'm heartbroken, quite frankly, of thinking about what the next president will have to clean up, if it's possible to clean up, in just this one area of the damage that's being left behind, let alone all the other international problems and domestic problems that are building up.
And that's why I think we need to have maybe a better debate format, and I know you've written about that as well, because I'd kind of like to have some of these individuals that want to get our vote for president, and then, of course, you can also apply that to senators and members of Congress and others, how they feel about the Middle East and what do they feel needs to actually take place. And I know you've been very concerned about the fact that right now it sometimes looks like a junior high school discussion. He said this about you, and she said that about you, and he said that about her, and I think we need maybe a little bit of a reformatting of some of the debates, don't you think?
I would love that. I was in some presidential debates in 2000, and my heart jumped a week or so before one of those debates when I was informed by whatever network it was at the time that they were going to try something different. They were going to do what they were calling a modified Lincoln-Douglas debate. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a chance to really go in depth because, Lincoln and Douglas would have these 3-hour debates. People would stand in the hot sun for, all those 3 hours listening to these two men go back and forth. So I thought we were going to have a real opportunity to, delve down into these issues. Instead, the modified Lincoln-Douglas debate was that each of our campaigns got to pick one name out of a hat. And whatever name you picked, you got to ask that competitor, that other candidate, one question. And he had 60 seconds to answer it and ask it, and you had to answer it, and you had 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah.
We're never going to go back to 3 hours, obviously, of in-depth discussion, but we've got to do better than this stuff that's at about a fifth grade level.
We need to take a break, but as we do so, don't forget we have the $5,000 match on.
We do.
And this would be a great opportunity for you during the break to call 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. Of course, the website is pointofview.net. We need to hear from you, and we'd like to get 5 phone calls now.
5 phone calls during this break at 800-347-5151.
Constitutional attorney Michael Ferris, Chancellor of Patrick Henry College, with a closing argument from Monday on Point of View that I hope you'll heed.
I have, for at least 20 years, been a information partner with Point of View and have seen the value. I mean, I've seen Congress turn around by the responses of people calling in from programs that they hear. I've seen states turn around. I've seen issues won because of the information. And so I really strongly urge the listeners to join with Point of View as a giving partner.
As Michael said, many issues would not be won. Our communities will be deprived of so much without the voice of Point of View Radio. I'm confident that you won't let that happen by your silence. Please give right now. Join the Truth Team, 1-800-347-5151 or online, pointofview.net. A key to remember, another of our partners will match your donation when you give. They will double your impact. 1-800-347-5151. Donate through our app or online at pointofview.net. Point of View will continue after this.
are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kirby Anderson.
Back once again, and again, it is our Truth Team 360. We have Gary Bauer with us in studio, of course, Brad Fisk. Mm-hmm. And let's, if we can, just hear from someone who has been an individual that has benefited from Point of View.
Point of View is actually a lifeline for me. I homeschool my girls, and I don't think I could do what I do without Point of View on a daily basis.
Brad, I know you've homeschooled your kids,
yes,
and
indeed.
This is one of the reasons we do these interviews with people like Gary Bauer, so that people can learn more.
Yeah, the thought occurs to me that we bring people like Gary Bauer in, who's got a perspective and a viewpoint that is heard in several different places, but not enough. In other words, we need to give him a voice and a platform. And so this interview we're having with him right now is a perfect example of why we're asking you to support us financially. 1-800-347-5151. And I got to read this comment. Then we'll go back to Gary. A listener just called in, became a Truth Team 360 member. Mm-hmm. That's $1 a day, guys. That's all it is. And I said, I've listened for 25 years. I should have done this a lot sooner. Yes. Thank you to Douglas and Lodi for that. So we're just very grateful for your partnership and for joining the team.
Well, glad to hear from those of you in California or any one of the other 40 states
That's
where we
right.
broadcast. And so if you'd like to join, 1-800-347-5151. But of course, if you'd like to keep listening to this interview, you can just get on your computer right now and go to pointofview.net, and you can find out more about some of those resources. And Brad, I always have to be careful because when I bring some of these topics up, I know it makes Gary Bauer's hair hurt. But Gary, we've got to talk about this upcoming election. And recently we had George Barna and a number of other people in here, and they said that last presidential election, there were 39 million born-again Christians who did not vote in that election. 13 million were not registered to vote. 26 million were registered to vote, did not vote. We need to do something to get those like-minded Christians out to the polls, and that will make the difference in this election, won't it?
Yeah, Kirby, there's no question about it, and this has been something that has bedeviled me, and I know it's done the same with you all your life. There are such tremendous issues facing the country. The sanctity of life, whether all of our children will be welcomed into the world, protected by the law. We've seen what's happened to the definition of marriage. Now, unbelievably, there's this new move underway to force school districts to allow boys who may think or feel that they're girls use the girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. If you've got a daughter or a granddaughter, do you want that happening in your local school?
No.
Exactly. And I guess right there in Texas, there's going to be a vote on this issue
today
in Houston today. So you would think that would be a local issue, but the Federal Department of Education is threatening school districts with a cutoff of funds if they don't agree to allow that to happen. Now, just think about that. Poor children, special needs children, the people running Washington, D.C. right now, the Obama administration is saying if you don't agree to this radical social engineering, we will withdraw the funds that help all the other children in the classroom. I mean, this is a level of radicalism that if somebody would have said a few years ago we would be here, you would be called a nut or an extremist or whatever. You can go on down the list. There's dozens of things. I know there's a tendency by some in the Christian world to think that because we're sort of just passing through here, we shouldn't be involved in any of these things. I think that's a misreading of the Scripture. If we look at our own history as men and women of faith, the people we look up to and admire and want our children to know about are the people, the Christians in every culture, in every period of history, who stood in the public square and spoke the truth about moral standards, about family, about faith, etc. And I believe at a time like this, that's exactly what all of us are called to do here in the United States.
Well, that kind of gets us into what does the future look like? Because, Gary, you and I both have sons and daughters, and I've seen pictures of your daughter's wedding, and I just had my oldest daughter just get married, and we also have children that are now going to have grandchildren. I'm going to have my first next year, and we wonder what kind of world our children and our grandchildren are going to live in if indeed some of the kind of information we talk about here on Point of View does not get out and change the hearts and minds of individuals.
We're on the wrong road, Kirby. There's just no question about it. I mean, this road ends at a cliff, and at the bottom of that cliff, there's a moral abyss. All you have to do is just thumb through any newspaper or go online or even take a risk and turn on the television set and listen to the evening news. You'll see cases that just a few years ago nobody would have been able to imagine. A football coach at a high school losing his job or being suspended because he voluntarily invited football players to join him in prayer after games. I mean, things that a few years ago we would have said, no, that might happen in Europe, perhaps even and our friends in Canada might be forced to do something like that given their different constitution, but certainly not in America would that happen. Well, it is happening. In Houston, one of the things that caused the controversy on the ballot today was an effort by the mayor to demand copies of the sermons being delivered by pastors in the city of Houston. Yeah. And it was amazing to see pastors of all kinds, from liberal churches, conservative churches, black pastors, white pastors, Hispanic pastors say to themselves, wait a minute, this is America. No, the government doesn't have a right to monitor my sermon, so we'll see what happens in that vote today. But these are the things that happen when men and women of faith leave the public square. Their places in that square are taken by people that have quite a different view of what they want America to be in the future.
Well, and I think it brings us to one last point I thought we'd make, and that is how close these votes are. We've seen a lot of these 5-4 votes in the Supreme Court, but you talked about in your end-of-day report yesterday of this missionary group. They were in Dearborn, Michigan, and they were actually told that they could not speak out, and fights broke out, and so they were claiming that their First Amendment rights were violated. And the good news is that the judge actually agreed with them that they certainly had a right to speak out. But Gary, you know the rest of it. The bad news is the decision was an 8-7 vote when it came down. And so just by one vote, First Amendment rights of Christians were upheld. And that's just an illustration of how many of these close votes, whether it's a Supreme Court 5-4, 6-3, or in some cases, some of these very important cases that are decided in appeals courts, or even certain elections are decided sometimes on the basis of one vote. That's why Christians need to be registered to vote and go out and vote intelligently.
No question about it. When you see really silly rulings or rulings that astonish you, I often hear people say, where do these judges come from? Well, if they're state judges, they come when governors appoint them and state legislators confirm them. If it's a federal court, they're appointed by presidents, and the Senate votes yes or no to confirm those federal judicial appointments. So at the very least, if nothing else is on your agenda, you should want to make sure that judges are being appointed by elected officials that understand our Constitution, our freedom of religion, the sanctity of life, and the many other values our great country was built on.
Well, Gary Bauer has been with us, and again, we have a link to Our American Values. You've heard me a couple of times today quote from his end-of-day report, and we encourage you to sign up for it if you don't. And Brad, of course, we have a history that goes all the way back to Gary Bauer at Family Research Council.
Well, yeah, back in the Focus days, Gary, I was actually thinking of that, and you know, it's an amazing thing. The issues we're talking about today, who would have thunk, as Dr. Dobson would say, that we were going to be revisiting these kinds of issues today from 20, 25 years ago, and you were in there early in the fight, so thank you for that.
Thank you. You know, I'm as you all know, I'm horizontally challenged. I'm not a big guy, but I always joke with folks that when I first came to Washington to fight on these issues, I was 6'3", and this is all that's left. So.
That's a really great line. Gary Bauer, we just value your friendship, and again, we encourage people to support your ministry, but we're also challenging people to support Point of View right now.
Hey, one reason from you, Gary, as we let you go, one reason why people should pick up the phone and give us a call and financially support Point of View.
Because without Point of View and just a few other similar types of outlets, you will have no source of information that you can trust as being true and accurate and consistent with your biblical-based values.
Yeah. Thank you so very much, Gary. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we have a lot more to cover. As a matter of fact, the Founding Fathers. But don't forget, you may be just so enjoying this, you forget we have the $5,000 match. And, Brad, we don't want to leave that money on the table.
We don't now, and I just got a little update, and we're down to about $4,000 of the match remaining, approximately. So, but that's still a lot.
Yes.
And so I don't want to leave any of that money on the table. Give us a call, would you, at 1-800-347-5151. That's toll-free 800-347-5151.
I know some of you might have been waiting to call because you didn't want to miss Gary Bauer. Okay, he's gone. And before we bring on Tim Wildmon in the next hour, this is a great time for you to
lines.
call.
Let's fill them.
1-800-347-5151. We need to hear from you. 1-800-347-5151.
Pointofview.net.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, Kelly Shackelford.
I remember back the first time I heard Point of View. I was in law school, and I turned on a radio show, and it was at night, and I got to where I wanted to listen to that every night because, you know, it was something that really touched my heart, which is taking biblical truths and applying them to the very issues of today, which is exactly, I think, what Christianity is all about. And Marlon was doing it, and really no one else was. And it's still that way. It not only attracted me because it was doing this special thing, but it was just so encouraging to hear someone not shirk away from speaking the truth. And I think all Christians need that. They need to hear that it's okay to be bold, loving, but bold with what is true and what is right. And that's what Point of View does, is it doesn't say, oh, well, that's the truth, but we better whisper that, and then we better go hide somewhere. Instead, Point of View says, this is the truth, and we've got to stand on the truth.
Point of View. Truth Team 360.
Comments by Kelly Shackelford, who will join us on Friday and oftentimes does. And, of course, we need to maybe just refocus, especially since we found out that some of the stations heard yesterday's program for some reason.
As a matter of fact, the entire network heard yesterday's program accidentally. We had a major technical problem, which is now fixed. But we're not going to let that stop us. We're not going to let that slow us down at all. We are in the middle of an event we call Truth Team 360 this week, and it's your opportunity to come alongside Point of View. We are a listener-supported ministry. Yes, we're a radio program, but we're still a ministry talking about the gospel of Jesus Christ in a variety of different ways as we weave that in to the Christian worldview.
Well, let's mention that in case you just have joined us or in part did not know, we have a match of $5,000.
We do.
And so that is something we want to meet, and certainly that is the case. Many of you had a chance to hear the last part of the interview with Gary Bauer, but earlier on we had talked about the fact that over 6,000 criminals have been released from federal prisons. We talked about that issue, and we're very concerned about that. We've talked about the fact that we have 39 million born-again Christians who in the last election did not vote, 13 million that were not registered to vote, 26 million that were registered to vote that did not vote. And Gary talked about how important this election was, and Brad, you've talked about that as well.
We have, and this election, I tell you, I hear that 39 million and my eyes glaze over. I mean, I'm just like, why?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
How bad does it have to get before you'd say,
exactly.
I think my vote might matter?
Do you need to lose your vote and then decide, well, maybe I should have done something sooner about it? Let's not be there. Let's not go there. I'll tell you, if there's any other reason for you to support us right now, talk about great timing. We are going to be hammering that vote turnout between now and election. I guarantee you that. We're going to be coming at that from every different angle through guests and through commentary. And ladies and gentlemen, we cannot do this without your help. We are the primary voice of the Christian worldview in this place, in this time. And we ask you to support us. 1-800-347-5151. Let's fill every single line up here at Point of View. 800-347-5151. That $1 a day. Join the Truth Team. $1 a day, $360 for the year. You can spread that out any way you want, but give us a call or go to pointofview.net and give online.
As you support Point of View, you're supporting a number of things, one of which is a podcast. Even if you didn't hear that interview we did with Gary Bauer, you can actually listen to that later.
It was a great interview.
And so you'll have a chance to hear that. But again, this theme this week is Founding Fathers, Floundering Politicians. And we wanted to have our friend Bob Allen once again talk about the importance of those founding fathers.
How did we get here? What I mean is that in the late 18th century, surveys showed that 99.8% of those living in the United States, 99.8%, claimed to be either Roman Catholic or Protestant Christians, and the other 0.2% said they were Jewish. In the late 19th century, Supreme Court Justice David Josiah Brewer, writing for a unanimous court, said, quote, "This is a Christian nation." And yet here we are in 2015, 5 justices, in sometimes impenetrable and incomprehensible legal sophistry on the question of marriage, reference scores of lower court decisions, even the teachings of Confucius. But not once did they refer to the God of creation or his revelation to us in the Bible. So again I ask, how did we get here? Perhaps a key is found on pages 18 and 19 of the Obergefell decision, which created the illusion of same-sex marriage. There we find this from Justice Anthony Kennedy. The right to marry is fundamental as a matter of history and tradition, but rights come not from ancient sources alone. They rise too from a better informed understanding. Is that what the founders said about our rights? Do they arise from superior human understanding and therefore come to us by the benevolent wisdom of men? If that be the case, could not men change or remove our rights? Again, is that what the founders said and believed? Is that the foundation they laid? The short answer is absolutely not, and I'll explain tomorrow. For Point of View, I'm Bob Allen, with a point to ponder.
You know, he said, how did we get to where we are?
Yeah,
but
timely.
I also want to talk about where we're going,
That's
because
right.
when we talk with Gary Bauer, we talked about gender confusion, transgenders, where there's a vote today in Houston as to whether or not a young boy, if he feels like he's a girl, can go into the girls' restroom. We talked about the vote and all sorts of issues, and I think these are all reasons that we as parents and grandparents should be concerned.
I don't know about you, but this is insanity. I mean, really, think about it from a common sense. I mean, common sense is gone.
Yeah, lost
it's
common
just
sense.
Gone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, come on, this gender deal is nuts. I mean, what are these people thinking, for Pete's sakes? You know, boys are boys, girls are girls. That's the way God made it back in Genesis 1. Why are we drifting from that? Because it hasn't changed. The bodies are still the same thing.
Yeah.
And the biology still works the same way. And it really is insanity. I mean, we're standing for truth here, guys. It's biblical truth. And that's why we are so excited, number one, to give you the opportunity. Frankly, every single phone should be lighting up. Our website should be jammed with people giving money to Point of View. And it's because, and I know this sounds like we're bragging, but we're not. We're simply saying we have a passion for these issues that you're not going to find anywhere else. Day to day information that you're going to get that you're not going to get anywhere else. We have to push against the insanity, redefining marriage. God did fine defining marriage in the Bible. Why are we trying to change that? Because we're losing our roots. Our culture is drifting away from the biblical values, from the founding fathers. So here's the phone number to get on board right now. We really do need your support for the coming year. 1-800-347-5151. Three giving levels. What are they?
Well, again, you can give at $1 a day, which is $30 a month, $360 for the year.
That's a sweet spot right there.
That is
right
good.
there.
And so that's one opportunity. You can choose one of the bags that we've been making available and talking about. But then also, you can sponsor a minute a month. That's $65.
Yes.
And you can get one of those bags. It could be the tote
Beautiful
bag or the
Land's
sport
End
bag
quality
or
bags.
anything like
Beautiful.
that. But I know there's some of you out there that maybe could give $100 a month,
Yes.
which should be $1,200 a year. You can have all three of those bags. You can see those in the actual broadcast and all the rest.
And oh, by the way, you give $100 a month, it will become $200 a month because we have a $5,000 match challenge on the table. We don't want to leave any of that money behind. Yesterday, we had a $3,000 match. It was cared for. Got it all done. All that went in the total. That's the way this works.
Yeah.
Every gift you give, whether it be $1, $10, or $1,000, it's matched. Dollar for dollar.
As we go to a break, this would be a good time for you to call 1-800-347-5151. Again, 347-5151. Of course, the website is pointofview.net. Let me mention in the second hour, we'll have a chance to talk with Tim Wildmon of American Family Association. We'll be talking about, again, some of these issues that we need to address. So we'd love to hear from you. $5,000 match on the table. Give us a call, 1-800-347-5151.
Sometimes we look out and see the troubles in Israel and Iran and Syria, the persecution of Christians in Iraq and Kurdistan, the conflict in Ukraine, a saber rattling on the high seas with China. There are any number of places today that disaster could strike. And even when we know what to do, it's good to get guidance and encouragement from godly men and women whose calling is to focus on such things, like Gary Bauer. Point of View brings you guests like this every week, sometimes every day. But to bring them to you, we need you as part of our support team, what we call the Truth Team. You've been hearing about the need. You know what to do. Please step up and encourage us with the most generous gift you can. And remember, your donation will be matched. Another team member will double your impact. Call 1-800-347-5151. You can also donate through our app or online at pointofview.net. Thank you for joining the team today. 1-800-347-5151 and pointofview.net. Point of View will continue after this.
I just thank God for y'all. I listen to you every day, truly. I wanted to thank y'all for everything you do each day to inform Christian families and our community about the things we can do, and just the way you're so informative. I listen to you daily and love you guys and appreciate you so much.
God bless you, Kirby, for keeping this show so on track and for the decades of wonderful help to this nation that Point of View has been. We're all big fans of your work, and we pray that God will just prosper it.
As a Christian, over the years that I've followed this program, I am constantly challenged to be on guard and to evaluate what's going on. And if for no other reason, to protect the caliber and the truth of your programming, I need to participate and to back your program financially to ensure that the truth stays out there for people to hear, to view, and to be a part of.
This is Point of View Radio.
Hi, this is Kirby Anderson. You know, each day we take on the tough issues and provide a biblical perspective to them. The topics we cover are wide-ranging: apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child-rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View continues right now.
Across America, live. This is Point of View. And now, Kirby Anderson.
Second day of Truth Team 360. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday, and this is an opportunity for you to respond to some of the things that we are challenging you to do. And we have in studio with us Brad Fisk.
Yes.
And we might just mention that we did have a little bit of glitch in the first part of that first hour, so many people maybe did not hear all of the interview with Gary Bauer, but they're with us now, and we'll be talking with Tim Wildmon of the American Family Association in just a few minutes.
We will indeed. This is Truth Team 360, ladies and gentlemen. It's an opportunity for you to come alongside of us, because we are a team together, and what we're doing is putting out truth with a capital T, which happens to be very, very important in today's culture as we see us drifting away, redefining truth with a small t,
yes,
like what marriage is about, or like what gender are you? It doesn't matter. Things like that.
Yes,
and we're fighting against that. And we're having some help from some friends, by the way, because critical thing to know. We have a $5,000 match on the table. We have $4,005 left to go, still remaining on the table. Your dollars will release that money into our total. So let's talk about Team 360. $360 a year, or $30 a month, Kirby.
Yeah, $1 a day is very
That's right.
easy, and anybody can probably do that, and I hope that you will be one of those that will step forward and be one of those members. And as you become, we certainly want to send you a welcome gift, and that will be one of these bags, and you can go online to find out about it, or if you call, we'll explain some of that to you. Everybody that gives receives our Declaration of Independence and Constitution of the United States booklet that we put together. But some of you might say, okay, maybe I could do a little bit more, and we figured out that if you sponsor a minute a month, that's $65 a month.
Okay.
And then you have access to some of those resources, and I would hope, and I really am praying this hour, Brad, that we get a few people that say, $100 a month, I probably could do that.
That's right.
That would be $100 a month, $1,200 over the entire year. You can receive any or all of those bags and all sorts of other resources. And, of course, you will help us move a lot further down to actually deal with that match that was actually put forward by one of our other generous donors that said, I want to give to you, but I want other people to join with me as well, so that we have a number of people on the team supporting Point of View.
I want to say a quick thank you to a few who have checked in. Thank you for your gift, David, and thank you from Illinois, and thank you for Judith and for Phyllis. And thanks to Linda and for Douglas, all of you checking in, becoming a member of the Truth Team. If you gave at that $360 level or more, that's $1 a day. And we just are excited. 1-800-347-5151. That's a toll-free number, 1-800-347-5151. 5151, and you can always give online at pointofview.net. Click on Join the Team, and you can be on and off the internet in a couple of minutes.
Let's listen to one of our listeners had to say. Kristen.
I have been listening to Point of View since I was about 12. I was homeschooled, so I was home in the afternoons, and my dad would turn on the radio and blare it in his part of the house so we could all hear it. So I've heard quite a few Point of View shows, and I'm about ready to go into my second year at a state university. And I think looking back, Point of View has been a big tool in helping me work through what I believe and understand why I believe it, and giving me the ability to argue for it and to defend it. To everyone at Point of View, thank you so much for helping me become the individual and the student and the citizen that God has intended for me to be.
What a great story.
Just again,
been listening since the age of 12.
I love it.
Sometimes I feel really old when I hear some of these individuals say, oh, yeah, I was listening to it when I was in the 4th grade. I mean, one of the guys the other day across the table from me said that, and I thought, boy, I do feel old. But again, it just illustrates that we are generating and helping others with education and empowerment and all sorts of motivation to make a difference. And we've been doing this through various generations as well.
We have.
We, if we could, would also like to play the video. You can watch the video on our website, but also if you would like to hear it right now, we've had June Hunt with us many times, and this is what she had to say about Point of View.
If we look at Jesus' example, what did he do on earth? Why was he literally revolutionary in terms of making such a huge difference? It's because he engaged his culture. It's because he addressed the real problems that were going on instead of being in some kind of ivory tower. Therein is the huge benefit and the target for Point of View. Many people literally do not know truth. Many have not been exposed to it. Some have rejected truth because of the way that truth got conveyed. Well, since Jesus said the truth sets you free, we need to present truth in a compelling, logical, reasonable way. This is a huge forte of Kirby Anderson. He's built an audience, not just of listeners, but even, and many people aren't aware of this, of watchers. They have video cameras in the studio, and they will have thousands of people watching. Well, it's phenomenal when you hear truth presented over and over and over. Then people learn how to think. It would be tragic if Point of View did not exist, because not many programs are targeting areas where we need to learn how to think, where we need to learn how to respond, where we need to learn what our options are for active involvement, even how we can share truth with other people. And because Point of View is relevant, dealing with relevant topics, with real people, presenting real answers, it's right where people are, and it's meeting a very real need. Are you being fed by Point of View? Is your mind being fed? Is your decision making being fed? Is your spirit being fed? Think of it this way. You pay something for, whether it's a hamburger, whether it's a meal, whatever it is, you willingly pay for that. Well, this is a wonderful opportunity you have to literally help the ministry be the most effective that it can be through your gifts, through your financial support. I highly recommend it.
June Hunt, again, a friend of the ministry, and we've been talking with her on a number of topics over the years, and just one, again, challenging people to support Point of View. Brad?
It is. You know, as you listen to us right now and considering your gift and praying about that, pray and obey is what we ask you to do what God asks you to do. But I ask you this question: what kind of a world are we passing on to our children and our grandchildren? What kind of a world are they going to inherit from us in the future? And I am concerned about that big time, and I hope you are too. 1-800-347-5151. Let's fill every single line right now, and let's get that $5,000 match cleared up immediately with your generous gifts.
And again, someone I know is very concerned about the future is Tim Wildmon, who will join us in just a minute. But before he comes on, this would be a great time for you to either visit the website, pointofview.net, or to give us a call right now, 800-347-5151. We have that match, 1-800-347-5151. And this is an opportunity for those of you that maybe join at $1 a day.
That's right.
$30 a month, $360 for the year. That means your $360 becomes $360 again.
That's
$720.
That's
so
huge.
Please take the time. We need some calls right now, 5 calls right now, and we'll be back with Tim Wildmon right after this.
This is Viewpoints with Kirby Anderson.
You know, later this month, the UN Climate Change Conference will be held in Paris. You can tell how skewed the environmental priorities are of the participants by looking at one picture that accompanies the op-ed by Bjorn Lomborg. The title of his piece is, "This Child Doesn't Need a Solar Panel." The picture is of an impoverished, half-clothed boy in Mozambique crossing a trash-strewn mud hole. No, this boy and his family need food, clean water, clothing, and much more. They don't need a solar panel. Bjorn Lomborg is the author of such books as The Skeptical Environmentalist. He believes that we need to address environmental issues, but let's get first things first. Spending billions of dollars on climate-related aid to these poor countries takes valuable resources away from treating malaria, malnutrition, and tuberculosis. Over the last few months, various countries and international groups pledged money to the UN Climate Fund. Lomborg is concerned because aid is being diverted to climate-related matters at the expense of improved public health, education, and economic development. This doesn't make any sense. We live in a world where 1.2 million people live in extreme poverty. Another 2.6 million lack clean drinking water and sanitation. An online UN survey of more than 8 million people from around the globe asked the world's poorest countries to rank what mattered most to them. At the top of the list were good education and better health care and affordable, nutritious food. At the bottom was action taken on climate change. According to the World Health Organization, 3 billion people suffer from the effects of indoor air pollution because they burn wood, coal, or dung to cook. They need affordable, reliable energy. They don't need a solar panel. I'm Kirby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Take Kirby and the Point of View team with you on the go with the Point of View app. Search for Point of View Radio at the Apple or Google Play stores. Point of View. Truth Team 360. Bruce Pepin.
What was most significant for me was being able to be interviewed by Kirby on Point of View. And what struck me about this is I work for a very large Christian organization. And while I have had my whole career in Christian ministry, my family has largely been outside the faith, and although I have tried many times to appropriately share about Jesus with them, it wasn't until I was on the air with Kirby and they were aware that I was being interviewed that they tuned into this program. I don't think they had ever listened to Christian radio in the past. So much so that my sister, who was living in New Zealand, was able to pick up the program. And as soon as I was finished, even with the time zone differences, she emailed me right away saying how significant she thought the program was. She felt that the program was so well organized, that the questions that were asked, Kirby, how he led the whole program, it really connected to her heart. So I just wanted to express how blessed I was to be on the program, but also personally experience the impact and the reach of the message that Point of View has all around the world. And I would encourage you to support it and have the vision for what Point of View can accomplish for God's kingdom today.
Point of View. Truth Team 360.
Bruce Peppin, Focus on the Family. And
yes, exactly. I know Bruce Peppin.
Yeah, it's just this large organization. Well, I thought people might want to know it's Focus on the Family. But nevertheless, again, just a great story, because here he's been in a Christian ministry, and unsaved family member in New Zealand listens to the program. So again, such great comments. And again, don't forget, we are part of Truth Team 360. This is the second day in the week, and we do encourage your involvement. We have a match of $5,000 on the table.
And there's about 4,000 of that left to go, so it's a critical time. Listen, it's like having $4,000 sitting in cash on the table. You walk out of the room, you can't have it. If you pick it up, it's yours. Let's pick it up, shall we? 1-800-347 5151.
We now welcome to the microphone an individual that certainly understands the importance of Christian radio and fundraising and the rest, and that's our good friend Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. I've been on radio with him many times. He's been on with us as well. And Tim, what would you say to our listeners that are considering whether or not they would donate to Point of View?
Send money now.
That's what I like about you, Tim. A man of few words.
Send money.
It's been nice
now.
being on with you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, Kirby, just thinking about the history of Point of View, of course, your name's synonymous with it, and the late Marlon Maddox. And
you used to listen to it when you were working there at AFA.
Yeah. This is talking. I've told this story before, but bears repeating, especially for those who maybe are new to Point of View. But Point of View may be the oldest Christian radio talk program covering the daily issues. I'm talking about
43 years.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't think of one. I mean, it was a pioneer, Marlon Maddox. And you followed in his footsteps, Kirby, a pioneer in Christian talk, current events, Christian talk radio. And so I was just thinking back. Yeah, well, when I was, I'm 52 years old now, but when I was in high school or either junior college, right in there, I was working here for my dad. There was only like 5 of us on staff here at American, and I was part time at American Family Association. But my job in the afternoon was to run what some people remember as the offset printing machine. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Like mimeographs and things like that.
I think I saw it when I was there.
Yeah, I mean, that's all gone away now because of the computerized way we do things. But this was a loud machine. It had, I don't know what kind of brain damage I got from all the ink I was sniffing there for a couple of years. But anyway, I would come at 1:00 every day. I would go to school, eat lunch, and make sure I had the radio on at, I think, 103 Central Time and on our local Christian radio station. This is before American Family Radio existed. And I would sort of annoy the rest of the 5 or 6 staff members because I would crank that radio up really loud to overcome the offset machine noise, which was very loud, so I could hear Marlon Maddox, the content, the guest, information was invaluable, and I think you guys, Point of View, really set the bar high for Christian talk radio, and you still maintain that standard. So I would say, as I said earlier, you deserve financial support of your listeners, and if you got a match there, as you say, that's a way to double your giving. So I would strongly encourage people to pick up the phone. Hey, make a gift of $25 or $50 or something, or whatever you can do to help Point of View stay on the air, be strong, be bold, be courageous, be out there, because we need that kind of a voice in the Christian world. We've got too many voices of surrender and softness and disengagement, and are people who just want to ignore the issues and they just want to talk about, be happy, make money, God bless you in your job, and that's all wonderful, good. But our country's dying.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
And if we lose our country, we're not going to have the freedom to proclaim the gospel, to spread the message, to do the things things don't always are. We're not promised that things are always going to be as they always have been, and that's hard to shake people to that reality if they've never experienced something like other parts of the world have seen, like communism and totalitarianism and the dominance of Islam, and we see what's happening now with Europe dying and Islam coming into Europe in great numbers. So anyway, it's time to help your Christian brothers at Point of View and make a donation.
Let me, if I can, for just a minute, since it's a Tuesday and it's election day, just down the road from where we're broadcasting in Houston, they're having a vote today as to whether or not to keep an ordinance which would allow a young boy, if he says, I feel like a girl today, maybe I'll go into the girls' restroom. That vote is, I think, very important. And, of course, Tim, you well know that when some pastors spoke out against the ordinance and really tried to get a recall, the mayor decided to collect the sermons from all of those pastors. Now, I don't think your dad, when he started American Family Association, or even you as a broadcaster of AFR, ever would have thought something like that would happen. And yet that's the votes taking place today right down there in Houston.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's the word I was using, Tim, earlier on the air.
Kirby, who's with you?
Brad Fisk.
It's Brad Fisk.
I thought I recognized that voice. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I've been helping you for about 3 years a while back, and worked with your dad. Yeah.
Absolutely. Brad's a Sherathon and pro, so he'll help a lot there. Yeah, that's just, come on. A boy going into a girl's restroom and that's just crazy. And to have a mayor of a major city promoting this, surely to goodness that'll lose big time down in Houston. But that's the kind of thing we're seeing in places across the country where
shows we're losing the country,
where sexual anarchy is taken over. Yeah. Sexual anarchy. What does the Bible say in Romans 1? He turned them over to a reprobate mind. And I think the idea of unisex bathrooms across, if that's what you want to call them, across Houston is the thoughts of someone who's losing their mind.
Yes. That's right. Well, we need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Tim Wildmon because we have a lot more to cover. But if you want to actually cast a vote for common sense,
that's right. There you go. That's a good way to put it.
If you believe that broadcast that actually promotes biblical values, but just basic common sense,
that's right,
then we need to hear from you. We've got a match right now on the table, $5,000, and we've been able to reach some of it. We had a little bit of a glitch the last hour, so that's all the more reason why we are coming to you right now to remind you that you can join for as little as $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 a year, but that $360 becomes an additional $360.
Yeah,
right,
it's
Brad?
a really critical, strategic time to give right now during this match challenge, and we invite you to join the Truth Team. It's very simple. Every dollar you give, whether it be a single gift or a monthly gift, it will be doubled up to $5,000. And like I said, we really need your help. You can call us at 1-800-347-5151. That's toll free, 1-800-347-5151. You can always go online at pointofview.net, click on Join the Team right there, and your gift will count the same. We're watching the internet very closely, but we're voting for common sense with your gift right now. 1-800-347-5151.
I might just mention tomorrow we'll have Robert Knight with us, and he's always been following this issue of the gay agenda, and he'll certainly speak some common sense, but we need to hear from you right now. 1-800-347-5151, or you can visit the website, pointofview.net. We'll continue our conversation with Tim Wildmon right after this.
Penny Nance, the president and CEO of Concerned Women for America, was with us Monday, and she knows very well how important you are to ministries like ours.
It's very important that we support the things that we care about. Where your time and treasure are, there's your heart, right? Donor dollars are the gas in our tank. It helps us to keep going and do all the work that we need to do, and we're each called to something different. Your listeners can pray and give. They can help and be a part of what we're doing.
You can. Please make sure you do. Join the team today. Put some gas in our ministry tank by calling 1-800-347-5151 or give online at pointofview.net. Also remember, someone has already stepped up to match your donation to double the impact. Your Truth Team membership at $30 a month has a $720 impact in ministry. But whether it's a one-time gift or monthly, please give. 1-800-347-5151. Donate through our app or online at pointofview.net. Thank you. Point of View will continue after this.
You are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kirby Anderson.
Truth Team 360, an opportunity for you to participate with us, and we really do encourage you to respond. Brad Fisk with me, and of course by phone with us just a little bit longer, Tim Wildmon of the American Family Association. We do encourage you to give, and I thought it would be good to hear from Doris, who says she appreciates Point of View.
I just appreciate all you guys do. I mean, I learned so much, and it's amazing what you teach that I say to other people, and they look at me like, where did you hear that? So I appreciate you guys. So thank you for all you do.
Very good. Brad Fisk with us just before we get back to our interview with Tim Wildmon, and we are with this $5,000 match. How are we doing today,
Well,
Brad?
we're making some progress. We want to say thanks to some friends from Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Texas, Ohio, to name a few. And we are down now to $3,400 to go to get it cleared up. Very, very doable. A couple of people at $100 a month, a couple more at $65 a month, a couple more, maybe 5 or 10 more at that $360 level, $1 a day, guys. And we'll get her done. Let's just get her done. That's what I like to say. Get her done.
Get her done.
1-800-347-5151. Toll free 800-347-5151. Or online you can give pointofview.net.
One of the things that we always encourage you to do is go to our website, and as you go there, you'll see that we have information about Tim Wildmon and the American Family Association, afa.net. And Tim, that brings me to another question I wanted to ask you, and that is if people go to afa.net, they'll see some of the articles about what we call preemptive surrender. A couple of weeks ago, you and I were talking about that on your radio program with Mitch McConnell, now with Paul Ryan. We need to think about who we're going to send to Congress in the future, because if they aren't even going to engage in the battle, we're just going to lose because some of the people we thought were going to fight the battle simply have decided to surrender.
Yeah, I like Ted Cruz's expression, the Washington cartel. I mean, it really is a problem, Kirby, Brad, and I'm not exactly sure what you do about it, to be honest with you. But we have a bipartisan. The Democrats, for the most part, are almost against us on every front. I'm talking by against, I mean the Christian moral value system and constitutional government. That's my opinion. That's not necessarily the opinion of others. But the Republicans, maybe half of them, are what I'd call solid guys and gals on these issues, and so we're going to have to either elect new people into office, or either we're going to have to hold those who are there, put the fear of God in them, so to speak, and I think that's what we need to be doing. Like it or not, we have a two-party system in this country, and that's not going to change in our lifetime. So we're going to have to bring. Whatever party you choose, we're going to have to bring, some fight to the battle, because these guys in Washington, many of them, go up there, they get elected talking conservative, they go up there and then they start to surrender because they don't have the stomach to fight, the liberal politicians who, many of them, like President Obama, they're very sold out to their convictions, but our side seems to sell us out before they stand for. Yes. For the things that are right. So it's an ongoing, I guess, eternal situation that we face in Washington with the cartel, and of course I like to borrow from Ted Cruz on that one.
Well, I certainly do. And I want to come back to the election in just a minute, but since you mentioned that issue, that if they won't see the light, they should feel the heat.
Yes.
And it seems to me that Point of View, and I would say your program, Today's Issues, are two sort of call to action kinds of programs. There's a few others, so we'll give credit where credit's due, Dr. Dobson, and a few others, but there are very, very few. And to the point, sometimes we Christians elect somebody, then after 4 years, we decide whether we want to elect them again or re-elect them, and we have to actually stay engaged, and that's one of the things we've been doing at Point of View for more than 40 years.
Yeah, you have, Kirby, and you guys have been doing a great job all these years with the guests, the information, the news, the analysis, you're able to look ahead and see what's on the horizon, and so for the Christian community and we as patriotic Americans, things we need to know. So you guys, I just pray that God keeps you strong, and you keep, as my dad says, people would ask him, how you doing, Don, or what you doing? He would say, well, I'm keeping on keeping on.
That's right.
And so I hope Point of View keeps on keeping on, to standing for truth. Kirby, you're right. There are so many, there are very few Christian organizations, radio networks, radio programs that will continually stand for truth and to tell the people what's going on. it's so easy to, stay in the background. I call it head for the tall grass so that you don't get, quote, controversial. Nobody calls you names. You just stay safe, where you don't have to get involved. But that's not where Christians need to be. We need to be out front. We need to be salt and light. We need to be engaged, and that's what Point of View helps us do.
Just one more question for you, and that is maybe some people are thinking, well, what good does it do? If you look at our take action item here at Point of View right now, it's the fight to defund Planned Parenthood. And You've talked about that. And just the other day, we had Penny Nance on talking about that a little bit. And I think some people, maybe Tim, are thinking, well, you aren't winning the battles, so it's time to give up. But you're not ready to give up. I know I'm not ready to give up. What would you say to the listeners out there, especially that are wondering, should I even support Point of View? Should we even get and stay in the battle? What's your thoughts?
Well, since I'm quoting people today, I'll quote Yogi Berra. You win some, you lose some, and some are rained out. So the point is that, you know what? If you think this is going to be is eternal, the Bible tells us. So we're going to forever have something to do to stand for righteousness. And we, as the Bible says, we cannot grow weary in doing the right thing, in doing good. So we've got to stay with it. I know I get tired too. Hey, sometimes you just got to turn the radio and TV off for 2 days, to regain your little perspective and sanity.
Go play with the grandkids.
Yeah, do something. We all have to have go watch football or something like that. Yep. Unless that makes you more frustrated, in which case you need to probably
go play with the grandkids.
If your team, that's right. If your team is losing, turn that off too. But the point is that we've got to stay with it. We can't give up. We can't give in. And we just need to keep on keeping on, because you know what? I'm going to write a book one day, and the title of it is going to be "There's Nowhere Else to Sail to."
Yes.
And because that is the state we're in here. We have this one America, and unless somebody sees something I don't see out there, there's nowhere else to go to start over. So we're going to lose, or we're going to survive or not survive in this country that we call America. And it may seem like we're losing and the other team's driving the ball, but we've got to play defense, and then when we can, we need to play offense. But we can't quit. We can't leave the field, because we lose for sure then.
And speaking to Tim, I need to say this because I have had an inside look at AFR over the years and done different projects with you guys. I worked with your dad when he was there, and thank you for what you have done in stepping into your dad's shoes and taking American Family Radio to a whole new level. It's been really fun watching you step in, take the reins, and drive. I'm telling you, God bless you for that. And I think this is a really interesting dynamic of having both of these ministries on the air right now together.
Yes.
And talking about the future. Like you said, there's no other place to go. And I've not given up. I'm a terribly optimistic person, but at the same time, I'm scared to death. What kind of a world are my children and my grandchildren going to face? What are we going to leave them and for a legacy? And we appreciate your heart, Tim.
Well, thank you very much, and we're proud to air the program Point of View and have for years. The Point of View radio program, and we'll continue to do so because you guys do such a great job, and it's been nice being with you.
Well, appreciate you co-laboring with us. Tim Wildmon.
Hey, Kirby, one other thing.
Go for it.
Excuse me, you and Brad. I think we've been talking about the government, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you, Kirby, would get yourself one of those printing machines they have in Washington, D.C., I don't know if you can order one off the internet. They print money.
Print money.
Okay? and your problem be solved. You'll meet that $5,000 match. Now, you might get busted. I don't know. That may be illegal, printing money. I don't know. You might need to check the laws on that one.
You might want to check the laws on that one.
eBay or somewhere may have a printing machine for you.
Thank you for that.
Tim, I appreciate it.
Just an idea.
Yeah, just trying to be helpful.
Yeah, just trying to be helpful.
That's right. We need to take a break, but just before we do so, we've got a match on the table, and they don't allow us to print money.
No, they don't. As much as Tim wishes, it's a about 3,000 to go, and every call, every gift you give is doubled, whether it be $1, $10, $100, $1,000. It will be matched, and we only have until the top of the hour, and that money goes away. Don't let that happen, please. Give us a call with your very best gift. Looking for 5 new Truth Team members 360 right now.
1-800-347-5151. 1-800-347-5151. We'll be right back.
Point of View, Truth Team 360. Phyllis Schlafly.
Talk radio has become a vital factor in America. It's absolutely essential to winning the battles that we work on, the moral battles, social, legislative, political, and so forth. And Point of View has been a pioneer and played a major role in bringing talk radio to the Christian audience. I think Point of View was one of the first Christian call-in shows out there, and it taught the Christian community how to participate in talk radio. You have wonderful guests. You bring issues to the public, which we don't see on the regular establishment secular media. And I just think Point of View has become an important factor in the good changes that have taken place in America.
Point of View. Truth Team 360.
Phyllis Schlafly of Eagle Forum. Yesterday, of course, we had a chance to also hear from the head of Concerned Women for America, Penny Nance. We'd love to hear from some of you that are members of Concerned Women for America or Eagle Forum. I appreciate the fact you support those organizations. We give them airtime, and I would encourage you to also consider supporting Point of View.
You may be an AFR listener listening to American Family Radio, and you could give. I'm sure Tim Wildmon would be delighted to have you do that and support us. 1-800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. 5151.
Let's hear from Mordecai, what he had to say about Point of View.
Yes, thank you for, first of all, what you do. And I just wanted to say that your program has given us a voice, and I want to thank you for that. And I also think you've helped a lot of churches and for believers to get maybe where they were lacking in education about the world situation in their churches. So, God bless you all.
Again, Brad Fisk with us, and in studio here, we're talking about this match, $5,000 match. How are we doing?
Well, we have her carved down to $3,290 to go, and it'll be taken care of. So now there's not a lot of time left here, so we urge you to give us a call right now. As a matter of fact, I just did a quick count, and we have 5 lines open. So you will not get a busy signal. You'll get straight in, 2 to 3 minute phone call. You do not have to have the pledge now in hand. This isn't something, well, I don't have the money right now. Doesn't matter. You got a year to take care of it, and the idea is to do something. 100% participation at 1-800-347-5151. We're looking for 5 of you to join Truth Team 360. That's $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 for the year. That's level 1. Giving level number 2.
Well, that would be for $65 a month, and that covers basically a minute a month. And then, of course, is $780 for the year. Or, of course, the Century Club is $100 a month, and that's $1,200 for the year. And a few of those would actually help us take care of this match.
I'll say, right now, your $100 gift will end up being $200 a month. You're going to release $100 a month for the entire year into the total by giving us a call. What a strategic time to call us. 1-800-347-5151. Still looking for 1, 2, 3 more lines available right now. 1-800-347-5151. Let's get it done.
Well, certainly. We got a little slow start because of a technical glitch.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why we want to end and finish strong.
We do.
This has been a theme of founding fathers and floundering politicians. We've talked about the second. Let's talk about the first for just a minute. And our good friend Bob Allen has something to say about how did we get here?
How did we get here? What I mean is that in the late 18th century, surveys showed that 99.8% of those living in the United States, 99.8%, claimed to be either Roman Catholic or Protestant Christians, and the other 0.2% said they were Jewish. In the late 19th century, Supreme Court Justice David Josiah Brewer, writing for a unanimous court, said, quote, "This is a Christian nation." And yet here we are in 2015, 5 justices, in sometimes impenetrable and incomprehensible legal sophistry on the question of marriage, reference scores of lower court decisions, even the teachings of Confucius. But not once did they refer to the God of creation or his revelation to us in the Bible. So again I ask, how did we get here? Perhaps a key is found on pages 18 of same-sex marriage. There we find this from Justice Anthony Kennedy. The right to marry is fundamental as a matter of history and tradition, but rights come not from ancient sources alone. They rise too from a better informed understanding. Is that what the founders said about our rights? Do they arise from superior human understanding and therefore come to us by the benevolent wisdom of men? If that be the case, could not men change or remove our rights? Again, is that what the founders said and believed? Is that the foundation they laid? The short answer is absolutely not, and I'll explain tomorrow. For Point of View, I'm Bob Allen, with a point to ponder.
Making our way down to actually whittling that match down. We still have some places to go.
We're down to $2,700, ladies and gentlemen. $2,700. This match expires in about 5 minutes. So we need you to go to the phones right now. 1-800-347-5151. And thank you, Bob Allen, for those words of wisdom.
Very, very good. Let's hear what some other listeners had to say.
I just wanted to tell you, too, how much I have appreciated Point of View over the years, and it has caused me over time to call my representatives and take action that I would never have had the knowledge to do before. I've always been taught that we take care of our own, and I feel like Point of View is one of our own because of the Christian worldview that you do promote. And so I have become a partner today, and I just want to thank you so much, and just God bless you for all that you do.
I have listened to Point of View for a number of years, and since I've been retired, I listen daily. And I decided that you guys were worthy of my giving, and I chose to donate the money monthly so that it would be a part of my monthly giving. Point of View is a very unique ministry and gives us a Christian perspective. I really admire and respect you. You show so much love and affection and interest and care for your callers, and that impressed me too.
I've listened to Point of View for years. Boy, I can't afford not to support you. Point of View gives me a voice, and I just appreciate you. And I've been here listening for years, right from the beginning. So I thank you, and I do. Again, I said I can't afford not to support you because I want you to keep going.
Kirby, you're one of the only ones out there that I can really trust because I really feel like you and your staff do a good job researching and getting the facts that you lay out there before us, because I know that you answer to a higher power, God. And he holds you accountable to what you do. And so I appreciate the fact that we can hold you accountable, and you basically prove yourself every time.
So again, this is just a great opportunity for you to participate. We're coming to the end here, but even though we'll go off the air, you can still go to the website, pointofview.net, and we'll keep that match on the table till
tonight.
For tonight. And
that's
so
right.
that's because we recognize we're getting to the end there. We got a slow start today. So if you would like to join with us, go to the website, pointofview.net, click on Join Our Team, and then you can join at the $30 or $65 or $100 levels. Three different levels, all sorts of welcome gifts, and all sorts of ways you can participate.
And of course, you can give single gifts or other monthly gifts of any amount. That's always welcomed. But these have the gifts attached, the welcome gifts, which you can look at on the website at pointofview.net and see what they look like.
Well, tomorrow we'll have a chance to talk with Robert Knight, and we'll look at what happened in Houston and the whole issue of the gay agenda. Dr. Al Mohler will be with us. He's got a new book out. But again, we need to hear from you. You can give us a call, 800-347-5151. Or if you can't get through or we aren't able to answer the phones, if you call later, pointofview.net.
Remember, $2,700 left of the match challenge. Let's not leave any of it there. Let's get it all done right now.
Brad, appreciate your help, and I want to thank Andrew, Catherine, and Chris for the help behind the scenes. We need to hear from you, and we'll join you back here tomorrow. We'll see you then.
I don't know about you, but sometimes as I look around, I get discouraged. Like Peter on the water, I take my eyes off Jesus and begin to sink. But God will never abandon us, and He commands us to do His work, to love in His name, to act as salt and light until He returns. Yes, men like Tim Wildmon have us look at hard things, but remember not to focus solely on the waves, but on the one that the Bible says rides upon the storm. Let's encourage each other and get busy together. Please join the Truth Team today. Your $50 gift will have a $100 impact thanks to partners who have promised to match what you give. Your $30 a month Truth Team membership equals $720 of support. Please call us 1-800-347-5151. Give as generously as you can. You may also donate online at pointofview.net or through our Apple and Android app. Again, please do so today. 1-800-347-5151 and online pointofview.net. Point of View is produced by Point of View Ministries.